More and more services these days are moving to the cloud. In fact, we're now able to set up and run our entire development environment through the browser, using tools such as GitHub Codespaces and Gitpod. This means that we can take all of the processing power away from our dev machines and virtually eliminate the hassle of setting up a brand new environment. You can think of these services as something similar to Docker, but instead of running the container on your local machine, it's all done through the browser. Today we're going to take a look at Gitpod, get set up with a demo app, and get a feel for how it all works. So I'm on the Gitpod website, gitpod.io, and if I go to quick start, it's going to give me some instructions on how to get started. So we can start with some templates, and I've gone down here to React. I'll click on the React template, and it tells us how to get started with the React template. It takes less than 5 minutes. So I'm going to go into step 1 here and create a new repository based on the React template. So I'm going to click on this link, and this will start the process for me to create a new repository by cloning this template. So I'm going to call this Gitpod demo React template. And I'm going to leave that as public and create repository from template. So while that is up and running, we'll have a look at step 2, and that is to install the Gitpod app. So we'll click on this, and this will get started installing Gitpod into my GitHub account. So install on your personal account, Ian Lenihan-demo, and so I can choose from all repositories or only select repositories. This is my demo account. I'm fine with choosing all repositories. What I think this means is that it's going to install Gitpod on all of the repositories, not actually set up a Gitpod workspace or environment or anything like that. So it should be pretty safe to click on all repositories, but if you want to just click select repositories, you can just click select and choose from a list. So I'm going to go ahead and click all repositories and click on install. So I now need to click on install app. This will allow Gitpod to access private repositories as well. Okay, so installation is successful here. I had already set this up before, so I think there's a couple more steps that if you're doing this for the first time, you'll have to do. It includes approving the access, and it tells you exactly what it needs to access in your GitHub repositories. So I'm going to click on go to dashboard here. And we've got no projects and no workspaces. If we look at step 3, the step 3 is a first pre-build. Now the instructions here, I've tried this earlier as I said, and these instructions weren't working for me. It kept resulting in an error. So what I'm going to do is go into projects, and I'm going to create a new project from the dashboard. So I've got Gitpod demo React template shows up here already. So I'm going to click on select. So I need to create a team name. So I'm going to call this Ian Gitpod demo. Click on create team. And now, so what it brings me to here is the gitpod.yaml file. So if we have a look at the instructions, it says Gitpod displays the pre-build progress status by running the init commands in the Gitpod YAML file. Before you even start a workspace. So what we're seeing here is that Gitpod YAML file, and the init command currently for this demo is just yarn and yarn start. But obviously if you had a more complicated application, this is where you would put all your instructions in here to actually set up the workspace. So I'm going to click here on run pre-build. As far as I know, that only needs to be done once. It's just to get the whole project set up. So I'm going to click on run pre-build, and that should take probably 30 to 40 seconds, I think. So we'll let that run. Okay, so that's finished running now. That took about 45 seconds according to this here. So from here now we can click on new workspace. So I'll click on new workspace, and it's starting to set up. You can see here it's given me a URL. And now the app itself is loading. So we have here on the right, we have a simple browser built into the Gitpod workspace here. Down here we have a terminal. On the left side we have our IDE. Now you can see this looks basically like VS Code. It looks like the same thing. So they must be using VS Code in the browser here. Click on source, and let's start playing around with it. So this is app.tsx. This is a TypeScript file. So I click on app, and you can see what happens here if I change any of this text here. So I'm going to just add a couple of question marks, leave it a second, and you can see it immediately reloads and saves the actual file. So there's no need to actually manually save it. I've just typed, and about 1 second later it saved it for me. And you can see here source control on the left shows now that there are new changes to commit. So I'll close that. So we can do things like look at extensions, and we can install a theme, for example. I already installed the Dracula official earlier, so I'll have a look at this Sweet Dracula. Click on install, and immediately changes the theme to Sweet Dracula. Actually pretty nice as well. You can see also we do have command palette. So if I do Command Shift P, it opens the command palette, and if I type in theme, I can click on color theme and pick any of the themes from here. So there's normal Dracula, and inadvertently I actually closed the browser. So let's see if I can figure out how to open that again. So let's have a look at the command palette and type in browser, and there it is, simple browser show. It's asking me to enter a URL. So we do have the URLs down here, which is localhost 3000. I'm not sure if that's going to work. Let's copy that, see what happens. Do simple browser show and enter in localhost, and that doesn't work. So this is actually a clickable link. So if I hold Command on the keyboard and click on this link, now here we go. So this opens up the actual app in a full browser window, which is probably how you're going to want to use Gitpod anyway. But let's see what happens if we copy this URL that it's given us. So it's given us here an actual fixed URL with Sapphire Donkey and a whole bunch of stuff at .gitpod.io. So it's there, it's being hosted by them. So if I try this again, command palette, simple browser show, and put in that URL, so we get the simple browser back here, and I can go split screen again by clicking on that button, and okay, close that. I can just drag it across. So there we have our browser back. We've got the menu buttons over here. So we've got normal stuff, file, edit, selection. So you can have a look through that and see what those do. We can click on down here, we can have a look at Gitpod open in VS Code. So we click on that and see what happens. Open Visual Studio Code, click on OK. Install. So it's asking me to install Gitpod. Okay, so this is another app that I've been working on. It's still going here. Okay, so I need to authorize Gitpod local control client. So okay, click on authorize, and then we'll try again. And open. Has fingerprint shot. Are you sure you want to continue? Okay, I'll click on continue here. Trust the authors of all files in the parent folder. I'll click yes and continue. All right, nice. There we go. So application is running on port 3000. If I click on open in browser, and there you have it. Localhost 3000. Yeah, thanks. Localhost 3000 is running the app. So this is running in my local VS Code, and let's see what happens if I change app.tsx, and I will add another 2 question marks. And for here, obviously, I need to actually do save. And there we go. We have all our question marks. Does that reflect here, I wonder? Yeah, it also updates on the actual browser. So yeah, that's a brief introduction to Gitpod and how it works. I think it's really cool. I'm definitely going to look at setting up some of my own projects on Gitpod, and it's going to be really handy for things like when I go on holidays, for example. I usually take my laptop because there are some projects that I have that clients are using, and if something breaks, I want to be able to fix it straight away. So with this, I can potentially take an iPad and I can log into Gitpod online and make a quick fix if I need to, and carry on with my day. So yeah, I think it's really cool. I'll take a look at it, and let me know in the comments below if it's something that you would use yourself. If you like the video, please make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.